Hi, my name is Dan and this is Engelgeist. This is my first charm haul video, so bear with me as I go through this. These are some charms that I've picked up for my charm divination box. If you haven't watched my charm videos, they're available on my YouTube channel. I charm every Wednesday night and Friday night at 7:30 Central Standard Time. So these are some new charms that I've had for a while, waiting to be sort of put into the charm box, and I've collected them from a couple of different places. Some were from Etsy, and some were from a place called Omega in New York. They all happen to be sort of spiritual in nature, and they've been sort of waiting on my desk for me to shoot this video, and then I can sort of add them to the family charm of the charms that are in the box. And I'll explain to you why I sort of got them. First and foremost, the reason why I picked some of these out is obviously they definitely have a spiritual overtone to them, and I want to add more of that to my charmings. I think that these charms are going to help. The intention of these charms is to help sort of open the door to higher spiritual realms or information. That's at least my goal. And also with some of these, they are also to help sort of predict. There's been quite a bit of popularity with the past life charmings, where not only do some of the charms take me to a certain era or place in on the planet, but it also takes me to certain periods of time. And so I feel like some of these charms also help to do that. So I'm going to start with the one here in the center. This is just the Om symbol right here. I'll bring it up close so you guys can see it, and then I'll place it back down. And this I got from Etsy. I'll probably put the store owner in the description so that you guys can see where I got it from. I know that it came from Ireland, and the Om symbol is a sacred symbol that has three sounds, A, U, and M, right? And it's a Sanskrit word, and it's a mystical symbol in Hinduism and Buddhism. And it's used as an incantation, and it can be like you can use it as a tone for the start or the end of a reading, mantra, or prayer. It's deeply, deeply spiritual. It's spelled either O-M or A-U-M. But the Om symbol is comprised of three distinct sounds, A, U, and M. It should be pointed out that number 3 is important in Hinduism because it teaches that there are 3 worlds, earth, heaven, and the atmosphere. And I think of also like the Holy Trinity of the mind, the body, and the spirit, or of, like, say, in more religious perspective, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. So it's very similar in that regard too. It also ties in, like, my thing about triangles and balance, which I like that about the Om symbol. What else did I want to say? I'm just reading some notes here that I took off of the internet in regards to the Om. So it teaches that there are 3 worlds, earth, heaven, and the atmosphere, 3 major gods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and 3 Vedic scriptures. Because of this, it is believed that Om contains the essence of life and the universe. It is also said that the sound was created before the universe, right? So what I'm thinking about this symbol is not only does it bring us in line with the Holy Trinity, but it also kind of, if it were to come up in your reading, it could state, to me, there's some of us that are in spirit here on the planet now that have maybe been around prior to the creation of this planet. And I believe that some of those souls do exist. So if this were to come up in a reading, depending on where it would be in the reading and where it was placed and what the reading's contents were, it could give me information as to how old your soul is. It could give me information as to, the balance of where your soul is at. Now, speaking of balance, going to some of these other charms, this one here is about chakra balance. It also it has all the chakras represented in small little crystal stones. It was bought from the same retailer on Etsy. And again, like I said, I will place that in the video description. But this one here I bought specifically for the idea of when it shows up, it might show up to remind us to balance our chakras. One of those stones might pull my attention and bring my attention to a specific chakra for you in a charm reading. It also might call your attention towards meditating more, or it might call in, like, say, a past life reading towards a life that was lived in sort of meditation or spiritual exploration, right? Now this charm here, which is also all of the gold charms, I should let you know, all came from the same retailer out of Ireland. I wish I remember their name. It was like Electro Crafts or something like that. But this one here is similar in the fact that it has the stones on the outside, but this focuses more on the auric field. And that's why I bought this one, because this one talks about our internal chakras within the body and the sort of energetic system within, and how we control it within through meditation and through sort of self introspection. This is how we manifest it outside of ourselves, right? So this is showing me sort of, if this were to come up in a reading, where it would be placed and what the reading would be about could show that we're exuding extreme joy and really attracting positive attention. It could also show that we might need to work on our aura, and a certain stone might gather my attention, which would also correlate me to another chakra or a layer of the etheric body. There are different layers to the etheric body, and so there's too numerous to name here, but if there were a particular stone that was drawing my attention, I would then go to maybe that layer of the etheric body and see if I felt anything, or if there was anything that needed to be maybe brought forth and talked about. Now, I'm going to just do all of the gold ones first, since they're all from the same retailer. This is the sigil of Metatron. And to me, Metatron is like an amazing, he's sort of like the angel of all angels. And so to me, this is all about ultimate protection, safety, and connection with the angels. I feel like this is one of the strongest charms will be one of the strongest charms in my box once it gets placed in there. And it's just to represent sort of connection to the angels, connection to the higher realms, connection to definitely the Metatron himself, and serious like sort of protection, because it's his sigil. To me, it represents as being sort of like under full protection is kind of the intention with which I bought that for. I have a lot of different angel charms in the box, right? Some representing specific angels, some are just guardian angel charms, which could be, interpreted as a spirit guide. But this is like sort of the sigil, or the protection overlaying us. And this to me would signify like sort of heavy protection, or extreme security at this time, okay? And again, all of these are dependent upon when and where in the video it shows up, when and where in the reading it shows up, and like in what place on the board. All of those things would factor in, but to me, this would definitely be a charm about being protected by the angels at a very deep level, okay? Like at an extremely deep level. So this charm here is a Merkaba, and a Merkaba is also, it's a part of Jewish mysticism, and it's two sort of pyramids that sort of turn in opposite directions, but it's been around in spiritual traditions for a very long time, and it's I'm just going to read this to you. It's Merkaba is a divine light vehicle allegedly used by ascended masters to connect with and reach those in tune with the higher realms. Mer meaning light, and Ka meaning spirit, and Ba meaning body. Merkaba means the spirit body surrounded by counter-rotating fields of light, wheels within wheels, spirals of energy as in DNA, which transports spirit body from one dimension to the other. And we talk about the ascended masters using this to sort of go to the higher realms. So again, this charm here, coupled with like Metatron's sigil, these are a little bit more deeply spiritual, and that's why I brought them in. I sort of found them all together, and I kind of thought, wow, this is going to add another layer to my charmings. That's my intention or hope. We will see how they come out in future charm videos, when they come out, under what questions for people. But basically, the Merkaba is considered the chariot of the gods. It's referenced in the Bible, in Ezekiel. There's a lot of different interesting things. You guys can look this stuff up to see a little bit about what these items actually are and where they sort of fit in within sort of spiritual teachings and all of that. Now, some of the rest of these charms came from Omega in New York, which is this beautiful, beautiful place in New York. You can go there and take classes. You can go there just for spiritual retreats where you can spend time, in their sanctuary meditating. There's yoga classes. They give you the most beautiful food to eat. But they have a wonderful little gift store there, and I found these charms on the back shelf. And I have to be honest, I don't know a lot about Buddhist and Hindu spirituality. I am definitely open to them, and I believe that all gods deserve to be honored, and I believe that there's parallels from, like, say, Christianity to Hinduism to Buddhism to just the, even Islam. There's different sort of parallels. I feel like it's almost like similar stories, similar tenets, similar things that if we pay attention to them, we can embrace them all, with love, right? So this first one that I got, I have two of him. And the reason why I got two, one is Krishna. Here he sits. And Krishna, my understanding is he's sort of like, to me, he's kind of like, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be butchering this, and I'm sorry to anybody that may be watching that is of the Hindu faith, but to me, in my mind, Krishna is similar to, like, I say, Jesus Christ, in the sense that he is sort of the physical manifestation of Vishnu. Vishnu is the higher god that sort of created Krishna, and Krishna sort of, lived life on earth, sort of, I don't know, learning life's lessons, I guess, for Vishnu. So I'm going to read you this. Krishna's name is Sanskrit. He's one of the most widely revered and most popular of all Indian divinities, worshipped as the 8th incarnation of the Hindu god Vishnu, and also as a supreme god in his own right. Krishna became the focus of numerous bhakti cults, which are devotional cults, which have over centuries produced a wealth of religious poetry, music, and painting. The basic sources of Krishna's mythology are the epic Mahabharata and the 5th century Haravashma. Sorry, I can't pronounce this stuff. And the Puranas. They relate how Krishna, literally black or dark as a cloud, was born into the Yadava clan, the son of, and it just goes on to who his family was. Let me read this really quick. He has all of these things. He was very human in his way. Like it says here, the child Krishna was adored for his mischievous pranks. Also, he performed many miracles and slew demons. As a youth, the cowherd Krishna became renowned as a lover and sound of his flute, prompting the gopis, the wives and daughters of the cowherds, to leave their homes and dance ecstatically with him in the moonlight. And that explains part of why I got this white one. To me, this white one is about the purity of romance and the purity of courtship. So I thought if this comes up, this Krishna one comes up, this would be about being courted. This would be about sort of like maybe not necessarily soulmate situations or anything like that, but the beauty of courting, the beauty of the ecstatic joy we get when we're in young love, and the spiritual connection that brings not only to the person that we might be in love with, but also to ourselves, how that it reignites within us. So I got this to sort of represent that energy, and I like that it was white ivory, representing sort of the purity of that, right? So I have two Krishnas. One is to represent sort of the purity and love, and he's playing his flute. The other is him sitting here, right? And these are also to sort of bring in that aspect of Hindu, the religion of Hinduism, and that sort of realm of the world into sort of my past life charmings, so that it can sort of open us up to places in countries like India. Like I'm researching different sort of, how do I want to put it? Different sort of, cultural charms. Like I'm looking for like a pagoda charm to represent Japan, maybe a geisha charm to represent the samurai period, or a samurai sword charm to represent that period, so that I can sort of, if those charms come out, maybe these are past lives that we were around during, okay? Now this is Vishnu. Vishnu is the god that created Krishna, or was the incarnation, right? Krishna was the incarnation of Vishnu, right? So he is sort of the kind of the head honcho. He's absolutely beautiful. I love him. These are these tiny, tiny little charms. I think they're beautiful though. And I just found them on a back shelf in the Omega gift shop, and I was like, I fell in love. I was like, oh, they have to come with me. Oh, sorry. Stand up for me if you can, please. Okay, so Vishnu is also Sanskrit, and it stands for the pervader, and he's one of the principal Hindu deities. Vishnu combines many lesser divine figures and local heroes, chiefly through his avatars, particularly Rama and Krishna. His appearances are innumerable, and he is often said to have 10 avatars, but not always the same 10. Among thousands of names of Vishnu, repeated as an act of devotion by his worshippers, and it gives the list of the names. So he's a pretty big player in the Hindu sort of religion. I'm going to read up about him and learn more about him, but I felt as though he needed to be involved in this whole charm box, because I think that he represents not only a whole culture and a whole sort of cultural place, but also a religious sort of set of beliefs, and also a sort of power, that the idea of shape-shifting, the idea of, having many different names, the idea of having many different identities. And so that could come into play in a reading particular to where and when this charm came out and what the subject matter would be. Now, this last charm is Tara. She's Tibetan, and she is a goddess of Tibet. She's a savior goddess with numerous forms widely popular in Nepal, Tibet, and Mongolia. She's the feminine counterpart of the Bodhisattva, Avalokiteshvara. According to popular belief, she came into existence from the tear of him, Avalokiteshvara, which fell to the ground and formed a lake. Out of its waters rose up a lotus, which on opening revealed the goddess. Like Avalokiteshvara, she is a compassionate, succoring deity who helps men cross to the other shore. She is a protectress of navigation and earthly travel, as well as of spiritual travel along the path to enlightenment. And so I love her because she offers a little bit of sort of the combination of what we were talking about here. She sort of offers not only, similar to Metatron's protection, she also protects you along your path to spiritual enlightenment. I also like that she is the embodiment of sort of compassion and divine feminine. We have that with Mother Mary but in the charm box already, but I feel like adding her also adds a different aspect of religion, like Tibetan Buddhism, and also adds other countries like Mongolia, Tibet, Nepal into the mix of what is sort of in our universe and within the universe of the charm box, right? So I'm excited to she also has ties to China too, it says. She symbolizes purity and is often represented standing at the right hand of her consort or seated with legs crossed, holding a full-blown lotus. She is generally shown with a third eye. Tara is also sometimes shown with eyes on the soles of her feet and the palms of her hands. She is called the Tara of the Seven Eyes, a form of the popular goddess in Mongolia. So she crosses different cultures, and then there's white Tara and green Tara, but I don't know if she's specific to a, white Tara or green Tara. All of them are sort of based in compassion to the best of my knowledge. But again, this is not only for to open up these charm readings and make them more varied and interesting and give us more variables and deeper insight, but it's also to educate us, myself included, on some of these different aspects of spiritual culture through the fun of charming and the different information that can come through. This group here, I feel like, is going to be a powerful group that is going to add quite a punch to some of these readings. I will continue to study up on them and and figure out their meanings as I go forward in some of these charm divination readings. If you're ever interested in seeing what a charm divination reading is, please tune into my channel on Wednesday nights and Friday nights at 7:30 Central Time. That would be 8:30 Eastern and 5:30 Pacific. And feel free to give this video a like if you like these type of videos, if you like the charm readings, if you like any of my tarot scopes or picker cards. Please give me a subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I shoot another video. I hope you look forward to seeing these charms come into play. I certainly do. And I look forward to seeing you guys at another video. All right, have a great day. Thank you for tuning in, and take care. Bye-bye.